Juggling everything as a mum is one of the most difficult changes to try and adjust to. I've tried so many different productivity tips for working mums and for stay-at-home mums, but nothing has worked better for me than the things I'm going to tell you now. So here are 11 time management strategies to get more done in less time as a busy mum. For me, the purpose of being productive and managing your time effectively isn't so that you're constantly on the go. For me, the whole purpose of trying to get more done in less time is so that I'm able to then spend quality, uninterrupted, meaningful time with my daughter and really investing into our relationship while still managing everything else that needs to be taken care of. The first point is knowing your vision and goals for your family, and with that, knowing when to say no. I've put these together because I do feel that they're inextricably linked. For me, one of the biggest struggles when I became a mum was in creating a separation from my pre-baby life to my with-baby life. I felt as though the expectation of some people around me was that I maintained the things that I used to before, and I also think that I created that expectation for myself, that I'd be able to maintain those things at the same level that I used to before. The fact is, there has to be a mindset shift about what you're able to put in, and I think that for me, that took way too long to realise. I'd say that shift came for me when my daughter turned 2, and one of the most important things I did to get there was to really get clear about what I wanted from my life, what I wanted from my work life, what I wanted from my own personal goals, and what I wanted my family life to look like. Based on that, I was then able to make judgments when things were presented to me about whether or not things are in line with the vision that I have for my family, or if they weren't. And then it was a lot easier to know when to say no. Sometimes saying no is hard enough, but more often than not, it's knowing what to say no to. When you have your goals and your visions clearly aligned, it's so much easier to then match the thing that's being presented to you and asking yourself, is this going to bring me closer to the vision I have for my family? And if it doesn't, then it's so much easier to say no. Another system that I found that really worked for me was to assess when I thrive. Now, this is great if everyone thrives at the same time. That is not the case for me and my family. My husband is definitely a night owl and I'm definitely an early bird, and my daughter is both an early bird and a night owl. So this is one thing that we're still very much working on. Ideally, it would work great if my husband and I would both wake up early and then go to bed at the same time, but that's just not the case. When I'm tired and ready for bed in the evenings, he is still wide awake, raring to go. And that's made things difficult for us as a family, where we're still trying to maintain some time for each other and necessary time for ourselves as individuals. So the system that's currently working for us is that we'll have set days within the week where I'll stay up so that we can watch a movie, hang out, and the rest of the time I'll go to bed early and he can do his own thing. That way I can still wake up fresh in the morning and do what I need to do. This is still a bit of a struggle because I do get major FOMO and want to stay up late every night, but I know that it messes me up for the morning, where I like to wake up before everyone else and do my own necessary self-care and some work in some peace and quiet. So it is about being a bit more disciplined with myself, about knowing that I'm just not going to be a good version of me in the morning if I don't go to bed right now. One thing that's really helped me is to change the way I think about the meals that I plan and prepare. So before I had my daughter, I was cooking fresh meals every evening, making extravagant 5-course dinners, and I really tried to maintain that after I had her. It took me such a long time to realize that I was completely burning out. Even the mental energy that it was taking to figure out what to make every day was just too much. So the system I've implemented now involves 3 different elements. The first is planning my meals each week. The second is having very simple meal formulas for most days. And the third is allowing myself to cook those extravagant meals that I enjoy making a few times a month. My husband takes over the evening meal prep when it is those simple meal formulas, so that makes things a lot easier. But when it comes to planning those meals, there are some things that I'll batch cook and freeze, like pancakes, chicken burgers, or certain versatile foods that I can use as fillings in wraps or noodles, pasta or rice. So it will be vegetables, 1 carb and some protein. And with that as your basic framework, you can just sort of pick and choose what falls within those categories. And you can still be so flexible with the way that you season your food. Like if you want Cajun spice or Mexican, Thai, Indian, the list just goes on. But having a simple meal formula has made things so much easier for us as a family. Another system that's working for me is minimizing and simplifying my outfits. Now, I was looking sloppy way past the point where my child turned 2. Before I had all of these systems in place, everything just felt like too much effort. I wasn't prioritizing my self-care, I wasn't prioritizing myself at all. But when I made the decision to make that change, some of the systems that I implemented was firstly having similar color palettes, so mostly neutral in my case, and having some outfit formulas. An outfit formula could be a jumper, a jeans and pair of trainers, or it could be a maxi dress and some ballet shoes. Having a basic uniform of what you gravitate towards every day can make a massive difference. The other thing that I started to do when things started to stabilize a bit was to start planning my outfits for the week, particularly when I started working again or had things going on in the week. So then I planned my outfits based on the weather and whatever activities I have going on for the week. The other thing that I would do is only buy clothes that don't really need ironing. Doing this had saved so much time for me, but now that I've got to the point where I'm managing my time so much better and I'm feeling a bit better, I have started to inject some more brightly coloured or patterned things back into my wardrobe, and some of them even need ironing because now I feel like I'm able to manage it. But for those times or seasons in my life when I feel like things are getting on top of me, I minimize and simplify it as much as I can, and when things stabilize and I'm not feeling as overwhelmed, then I bring in a bit more extravagance. Another system that has really helped me is to try and have a morning and evening routine. Now, I don't want people to be put off by this if you think that a routine is something that you've tried but hasn't worked. For me, the way my life is set up is that no 2 days look the same, and I'm sure that if you're a busy mum, you know exactly what I mean by this. Some people's life work very well when they're regimented, particularly if you're going to work and you have a standard work day which looks roughly the same each day. In this case, your routine might be a bit more rigid because it needs to be. For me, things work a bit differently. Sometimes I work from the office, sometimes I work from home, other days I'm being a stay-at-home mum, so my life is compartmentalized into 3 different sections. That's why rather than having a strict need to wake up at 6 a.m, brush my teeth at 6:15 a.m. kind of regimen, I have an order in which things are done. And so whenever I wake up, which is usually very early, rather than being so strict about what time things are done, I get up and work through the order of the tasks that I need to complete. So don't be put off by the idea of a routine if you've tried in the past and it hasn't worked, because a huge benefit that you get is that you massively reduce decision fatigue, which is probably one of the biggest issues that you're suffering with if you were anything like me and struggling with managing your time after having a baby. I have done a whole video on how to reduce decision fatigue and how this is probably one of my biggest secrets to time management, so definitely check that one out. But you will be surprised at the amount of energy that's being unnecessarily drained having to make new decisions every single day, every single time over the same things that you're repeating anyway. So in that video, I'll give you a lot more strategies about how to overcome it and not only get more done in less time, but just finally take control of your time as well. The next thing I've done is to create systems for my house. So generally, I've adopted a do-as-you-go system for things like tidying the kitchen, washing the dishes, that type of thing. But for other things like dusting and vacuuming, I'll do those on specific days because that's what works for me. I generally do a very small load of washing every day or every other day, and by doing that, I'm not allowing things to pile up. I'm not spending ages putting things away. It literally takes me 5 minutes putting things away, and because, as I said, most of my things don't need ironing, they can just go straight into the wardrobe. One thing I did when my daughter was younger, at a time when I really was feeling overwhelmed, was just having out, specifically in the kitchen, only what we needed to use. So for my husband and I, that would just be 2 glasses, 2 spoons, 2 forks, 2 knives, 2 plates, and we would just wash those and reuse them. We don't do this anymore, but that worked for us at particular times of overwhelm because we weren't forever cleaning or washing or waiting for dishes to be available. But also just the visual clutter of not having dishes piling up was so amazing to me. Let me know if you relate. Also, we're not having to put things into the dishwasher, wait for it to be done, and then spend extra time taking it out. So having out only what I needed was something that really helped me and might help you too. Another thing that I've implemented, which I would like to get more consistent on, is to have a self-care power hour. But realistically, it's never an hour. If it's one of those days where I have gone to bed early, I usually wake up in the morning and spend some time on my skincare, my hair, just getting myself together and feeling good. But if I don't manage that in the morning, because maybe I've slept late the night before, I'll try and get at least 20 minutes or half an hour in the evening, maybe having a bath, attending to my skincare, having some relaxation time. Try and make this time non-negotiable, and you'll be surprised how much you can get done in maybe even like 15 or 20 minutes. And if you're starting to feel a bit burnt out, or you know your mornings and evenings are all over the place, asking for help for those 20 minutes or just adjusting it to when your child is sleeping can really make a huge difference. So if you've rolled your eyes at the point before and you're thinking, there is literally no time for me to take care of myself, then you are in the same position that I was in this time last year. And for you, the next one will really help. Turn off your notifications. leave group chats, limit your social media consumptions. I don't have notifications on for any of my social media anymore. The amount of time that was being sucked out of my day and the energy that was being drained from my brain without me even realizing was actually quite ridiculous. 98% of those notifications or messages had no urgency, and I'm going to say more than half were not even directly relevant to me. So I've left pretty much all of my WhatsApp groups, apart from a few, but particularly the ones where there's conversations that are just taking away from my time. And in the same vein, a tip I learned from my husband was, if any written conversation is going to take more than 5 minutes, just call the person. Typing takes longer than speaking, and actually sometimes the process of waiting for the person to reply and then being on alert for when they do reply just really longs things out, so just calling them can save you so much time. Setting small alarms for myself. This is particularly useful when you're doing things you just don't want to do, like tidying or cleaning the bath. If I don't set an alarm for my tidying, then it will drag on. I just end up doing things really slowly at snail's pace, which would be fine if I didn't have 10 million other things to do. But if I've got a short amount of time to get things done, setting a 10 or 15 minute timer and just doing what I can within those 10 or 15 minutes has been so revolutionary for me. Firstly, you'll be surprised at how much you actually get done, and number two, you get things done even faster. You know the whole Parkinson's law concept where your task stretches to fill the time you allocate it. So if you allocate it less time, generally you're able to get more done. But in the same vein, I often find that this is the right time to multitask. I'm not a huge fan of multitasking overall. I used to think I was the best multitasker until I became a mum, and then I realised that I actually struggled to do two meaningful things at once. Let me know if you feel this one. But what I did find is that using these times to make longer phone calls or listening to a podcast or audiobook helps me to do other things that I want to do while I'm doing the things that I need to do. And this has done wonders for my productivity. Another thing that really helps me is to write down daily and weekly to-do lists. And I've shared this tip before about how our analytical brain is a lot stronger at night, whereas our creative brain is a lot stronger in the morning. So using this knowledge, if you spend a small amount of time in the evening to just write down everything that you need to do each day and also what your goals are for the next week, then this is another way that it can really help to organize your time and your space a bit better, reducing that decision fatigue and making sure your energy and time is being best spent moving your life forward. So those were 11 things that I've started doing that have completely 10x'd my productivity as a busy mom. Let me know which one of these spoke to you the loudest, and also let the community know if there's anything else that's worked for you in the past. Don't forget to subscribe for more content on mindset, relationships and growth. That's it from me for now, and I will see you in my next one.